Hey guys, and welcome to my video. Um, a lot of guys requested if I can make some English tutorials or English subtitles to my video. So I have decided to, create a video in English. You have to excuse me, my English isn't the best, as you can hear. But I try my best so you can understand what I'm talking about, and I try to learn English better throughout the process. And yeah, I hope you like this video. If you do, you can subscribe me, you can give me a like, give me a comment, give me some feedback, show me some love. So in this video we are going to create our own server network. So what that means is basically, as you actually know, you can use the Unity networking, you can use Photon, you can use some other stuff I don't really remember, but I don't like these kinds of cloud-based stuff, and you have to actually pay for it to get more players online and stuff like that. So I thought, why not making your own network? And basically, in this series, we are going to create our own online game. You can decide actually what we are going to create. It can be like in my German tutorial, it can be a Clash Royale clone, it can be a 2D MMORPG, it can be a 3D MMORPG, it can be some, I don't know, random based stuff like Hearthstone, or I don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game. Whatever you like, you can write it in the comments, and we are going to create it. And yeah, as I said, this is my first video in English, and so you have to excuse me if I don't explain stuff correctly, or if I miss some stuff to explain. Just write it in the comments. I try to explain it in the next video, or I will answer you in the comment. So yeah, I have already created something, but I will copy it into the new project so we can start fresh and make something from scratch. And yeah, I guess enough to say. I said enough. Sorry, as you can see, my English. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, my Visual Studio is still in German. I hope that's fine for you guys. But yeah, let's start. So we create a new. We are starting with the server, of course, and yeah, we are starting a new project, a fresh project. We are using a console application. We call it server application, for example. We create a project, and what we can see. It's creating the project now. Okay, we are now in the program class. So the first thing we are going to do is we create a new thread for the server. So basically we are using a new directive. We are going to delete all of this. We are going to using system.threading, so we can create a new thread of our program, of our server. For that we are going to create a private static thread, and we call it thread console. After that we are going to create a private static private static bool, and we call it console running, so we can check if the console is running or not. After that, below our static void main, we are going to create a new function calling it private static. Why static? Because so we can call this class from our main function. Call this function from our main function. I'm sorry. So we can call it private static void console thread. What are we going to check? We are going to check if the console is running or not, and if it's running, it should stay running. As you know, when you start the the program, if you start it, you will see a black window, the console application, and it will close directly. Why that? Because the program has nothing to run anymore, and so it shuts down itself, as you can see here. So we are going to create a thread so the console stays let's say online forever till you close it down. So we are going to create a while comment. Oh no, we are going to create first a string. We call it line, and then we check when we call the console thread. We check our console running equals to true. So we know our console is running. Then we're going to do a while function. So while console is running, our line equals console dot read line. This is for later on when we want to add some comments like set access from player to admin or some stuff like that. So we can just write it into the console and it will execute it. So after that we are going to create a if string is null, empty or white space. Our string is line. Then console is running. Console running equals false. So the server shuts down, and we are going to create a return. And after that, we're going to create an else. But for that else, we are going back later in another video. So basically, that's it. Then we call this function in our main function. How do we do that? Basically, we are going to create a new thread console equals new thread start, and our function console thread. So we are going to create a new thread of this function and our console will run. After that, to run actually our console is /console thread console dot start. So that's it. If we're going to press start now and compile our project, as you can see, our console application stays on our screen and waits for stuff to happen. So if we type in some stuff, press return, the client doesn't close. We can create later on comments like set access, player, I don't know, my name is Kevin, and set access to admin. Then the player is admin, or we can ban people, ban Kevin, and then the player is banned or some stuff like that. But today we are going to create the server network. So our base is done. So could we create a new class? Right click on our project, add a new class, and we call this class networking. Just network. Let us call the class network. Okay, what do we need for network? We delete all of this and we create our using.system.net.sockets. After that, we need our using system.net. Basically, that's all we need to create sockets so player can connect and you can send data between server and client. Later on I will go deeper on this stuff, but for the first video it should be enough, because I think we all want just to create this server and you guys can develop further. So we are going directly to create a public TCP listener and call it server socket. After that, we create a new instance of our class so we can later on access it from other classes. So we call a public static network, call it instance, and this is a new network. Okay. We are going to create a new function, call it public void server start. In this function, we are going to create our main stuff, like let's say our server connects to the internet and people can connect to the server. So we are going to create a server socket equals new TCP listener, so our players can connect to the server. Every IP address can connect, and our port is let's say 5500. So every IP address can connect to this port. So close brackets, and we are going to start a server socket.start. Of course, we want people to connect or be able to connect to the server, so we are going to create a server socket dot begin accept socket. Actually, we only want TCP clients to connect, so we call begin accept TCP client, and we need a callback. So let us create a callback first. For that, we are going to create a normal void. We call it on client connect. Why on client connect? Well, simple. When a client connects, we call it when a client connects. So on client connect. We do need a async result. We call this result. And we do need a TCP client this time because a client is connecting. And we call this client equals server socket and accept TCP client and our result. So after that, we create a client dot no delay. As you can see, gets or sets a value to disable a delay when second or receive buffers are not full. Should explain everything. Nothing to explain for me there. For that, delay equals false. After that, server socket dot begin accept TCP client on client connect equals null. Not equals, our object is null. Okay, so basically what happens when a client connect? When a client connect, we want the client get an index. So let's say we have a maximum of 2000 players available, so 2000 players can connect to the server, and we want the client to automatically get one of those spots. Like when every spot is full, like it's actually hard to explain. We have 2000 open spots, so 2000 players can actually connect to the game. So when one player connects, it looks out for an open spot and connects to this spot. So the player has an index, for example, player 1, player 2, player 3. And later on, we can send data to this index. So we can send a data to player 1, and the player who has this spot on player 1 receives the data. And as I said, it's hard to explain. I hope you understand it a little bit. But yeah, if you have questions, just write in the comments, ask anything. I try to answer it as soon as possible. And yeah, I go on. Sorry for that. And yeah, actually we do need another class. Actually, the client class when a client connects. So we create a new class and we call it client.cs. What do we need? Nothing of this. We do need using system net sockets. Okay, our class. As I said already, with the index player 1, player 2, player 3 and stuff like that, we do create a public int and call it directly index to give the player a number. So we know which player it is. Then we need a public string, the IP address of the player. Then we do need a public TCP client. We call it socket. So when the player sockets, so we know which data or where we can send it, where do we send the data, and who can receive the data we're going to send. So, and also a public network stream, and we call this my stream. So again, we can send data over the network. After that, we are going to create a private byte array and call it readbuff. Oh, sorry for that. Okay, we are going to create a new class, a new function. We call it private void start. So when a player connects, this function gets executed, and everything is getting set up for the new client who's connected. So for that, socket send buffer size equals 4000 this one, and socket dot receive buffer size equals the same, 4096. Explanation in another video. This is really hard to explain for the first video, and if you like a beginner or someone who don't understand the parts of development, you will get like so confused when I try to explain this. But we are taking slow steps, and from every video to another video, I'm going to explain more, and you will understand actually more stuff. Our my stream, our network stream equals socket dot get stream. Basically, get all the data. After that, we are going to resize our array. Array dot resize. We need a ref. Our readbuff equals our socket. I already wrote socket receive buffer size. So okay, then my stream dot begin read buff. Our end offset equals 0. We don't need this, and we do need socket dot receive buffer size, and we do need a callback. Okay, we call our callback on receive data. Our object state is null. Okay. Yeah. Now we do need to create our on received data. I can see this video is going to take a bit longer than expected. I'm so sorry, but I want to finish this connection stuff for you. So we are going to create a void. We call it on received data. We do need, like the last class, async result, call it result, and we are make a try catch block. So try int read bytes equals my stream dot and read result. Then we calling a if block. So sorry. So if socket equals null. So if the socket who is connected receives null, then we are going to return and do not execute the rest of the code. So, but if our read bytes is actually smaller or equals to 0, but our socket is connected, then we are going again. We don't want this connection because it's 0, it's nothing. We are going to return. We close the connection with our function we are going to create in a second. We call it close connection. Okay. After that, so everything is fine with the player and he wants to connect, we are going to create a byte array. New bytes equals null. So the new bytes has a value. Then we're going to create an array, not reference, resize. We're calling ref our new bytes, read bytes, and we are going to do a buffer block copy. What does it say? Copies a specific number of bytes from a source array starting in a particular offset. So basically it copies the stuff. What do we need? We need read buffer for that. Our int is 0. We do need new bytes. Offset is 0. And we do need int count is our read bytes. Again, I do not explain this. It's like basically our own tutorial for that. But yeah. So later on, actually on received data is basically, I made a mistake. On received data basically is when the client sends data to the server, like sending a request. He wants player data, he wants his experience points, he levels up or something. Every data network he sends from the client to the server, like movement is a packet who gets sent from client to server. Actually, we need to handle this data, but we are going to do this in the next video. So we are going to say handle data. Then I'm going to explain the usage of packing of package, how you can send data between server client and client server and all that stuff is in the next video. And this is the function we are going to create. But so if a new if block, if socket equals null, again, maybe he disconnected, we are going to return the code before we execute further. And at the end, we are going to do myStream begin read buff 0 socket dot receive buffer size on received data, and null is our object. Then we are going to do our catch. We do need an exception, I believe. Exception, call it x, and we are going to close our connection when an error happens, and we are going to return. Okay, later on we'll throw code out which error it was and whatever, but again later on. Above our on received data, we create now the function close connection. So we call void close connection. What does it do? Well, it closes the connection and opens the slot, so another player can connect to this slot. So simple as that. Socket.close, socket equals null, and we are going to do a console.writeLine and connection destroyed from player disconnected, and we are showing the IP which player disconnected, so plus IP, and that's it. Player disconnected and the IP address. Okay, everything is fine, everything is good. So our client class is okay. We are jumping back to our network, and we are going to create an array, the player array. So how many players can connect to the server? For that we are going to create a public static. We are going to create multiple static clients. So we are taking our class to an array and create multiple instances for it. So we create a public static client in an array. Don't forget, we call this clients, and this equals to new client. And how many clients we do want to be able to connect to the server? I said 2000, but I guess for the beginning it's enough if we take just 100. You can change the value anytime you want, but I guess 100 is enough. Before we do that, we need to assign the client to our array. So how we do that is basically simple. We are creating in our server start function before the server starts. We are create a for loop. So for int I equals 0, I is smaller than 100 players, I plus plus. We create clients e equals I, sorry, there's my German again, new client. If we don't do this, it throws exception, a null exception. So we need to assign our clients to our client array. Okay. We have our server socket. Oh yeah, our server socket. I forgot. Begin accept TCP client is on connect, and our object is 0. And we do need a console. Well, we don't need it, but I like it when you see when your server started actually. So after that we use a console write line. Server has successfully, I guess with double S, successfully started. Dot. Yeah. That's it. I think we are going back. Of course, we need to call server start. So we go back to our program, and we are going to call the network class, the network server start function. As you remember, we created a static class, an instance. So we just can call network instance dot server start. That's everything we have to do. So if we are going to start the server now, you will get basically a warning message if you really want, with the internet and all kinds of this. We start the server. That happened. Our Windows firewall. Of course, we do want people connect to the server, so we accept it. We allow it. Okay, you see server has successfully started. We are able to connect people to our server, and yeah, basically that's it for the first video. In the next video we are going to connect our Unity client to our server, and then this is our first step to create a new networking, so you don't have to use the poorly Unity networking, of course. Well, in the last few months it got better, but it's not the best, and you don't need Fortune anymore. We are going to create our own server, and yeah, that's the first step. Our server is successfully started, or has successfully started, and yeah, and we are now able to connect people to the server. So that's it. I hope you like it. Leave a comment, leave a like if you like it, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next video, and yeah, see you guys in the next video when we connect the Unity client to our server. See you, bye, and good luck.